So down here's where I'm fixing to put it. Okay guys, this is a rough estimation of where I need to excavate this out. I've moved it in a little bit from what I think I need, so I'm gonna get it cleared out and see where I'm at and then make some decisions after that. So we'll see how it goes here.
Here we go, YouTube. We are both so nervous. Keep your fingers crossed.
Okay guys, that's the cavity that the heater's gonna set down in. So I just gotta I'll go rip some of this with the skill saw and cover up all those foam edges. Because that was my problem last time. The heat generated by that thing was actually melting the foam. So this is give it plenty of clearance and with the metal floor, and I don't have to worry about anything being combustible. Okay guys, I'm using this mounting plate as a template to mark where the holes need to be. This is gonna go like that right there. So I'm gonna have the cool air coming in on this end and giving myself room over here so that I can manipulate the pipes that come out of it. I mark that out on there. I don't actually have to use that plate. All I gotta do is put the holes in here. Okay guys, it's day 2 on the diesel heater. Got a chance to go to the hot springs yesterday and that seemed more important than finishing this. But here in the under bay, that's where I want to put the fuel tank. And you can see the diesel heater is through the floor here. All I gotta do is bolt it in, and there's the hole for the fuel pump right there. So I'm gonna need to relocate these clips to give me the place where I can anchor this up. So if I move that one clip forward, I can get 2 of these 3 anchors in, and I think that'll be more than sufficient to hold that up against the wall. And then probably put the fuel pump back there behind. I don't know for sure on the fuel pump yet, but the distance is so short it really doesn't matter. Yeah, probably up here in behind this tank, up in that area. That way nothing can bang into it and it'll all be kind of protected. And I don't have to use the thing that comes out of the bottom of the tank, so the tank has that flat spot on it. So the tank has this thing on it where you can drill the hole and put the fuel line in. But I'm going to use the other way. I'm going to use this thing and bring it up out the top. So it looks like the smartest thing to me is to put that right in the middle here and have it come down to there. So I think I'll work on that. Working in a construction zone. Thomas up here and a roof deck over there. I like to leave this thing as close to the bottom as I can. Ain't gonna quite. Golly, I'm not too far up off of the bottom. Some people say it's good to be up off the bottom, and if you get any crud in there. Okay guys, so the instructions for these things have gotten better since I did the other one. But one of the things that I find helpful is I've already like I got the exhaust pipe and the muffler is down below. But if I separate out these parts, I know what each thing is for and where I'm at, and that I've got the right thing going on here. So, you know, these big clamps are for the heat duct on the way out. So I know where those go. This was if I put the fuel thing in the bottom of the tank, which I didn't, so I don't need that. That was a spare bolt that was laying in the box. The fuel filter. So there's the fuel filter, the fuel line, all the hose clamps, and the connector material to put that together. These screws here, with that set there, they were for to hook the, that was to hook the tank to the sidewall. And these ones are if you use the adapter plate, then you needed 4 of those to screw the plate. I don't need the plate since I went right directly to a metal floor. And then 2 more of those are to connect your supports for the exhaust and the inlet. So there's 2 different sizes of these clamps. The small one is for the exhaust pipe. The larger one is for the air intake. And there's those bigger hose clamps for both of those. So there's actually a larger hose clamp for the big one and one size smaller for this one. So those are, I think they're different. Maybe they're identical. Anyhow, one of them's for this, one of them's to connect that to the heater. There's the fuel pump, and I slid the rubber boot, the rubber mounting boot. You have to look at the instructions to see, because in my memory the old one had a flow arrow on it, but I can't find it on this one. But anyhow, the side with where the wiring comes in and the longer side was the output side. So that's ready to go be installed. I believe that this bracket here was for the muffler, so that the muffler had a solid mount. And also there's 2 of these longer screws. So in that scenario, you can see that that screw is long enough to get through the rubber, and the shorter ones are not. So, well, if that's not all the way in there, but there, you can see when that's pushed all the way up in there, there's not enough, the threads don't come through. So that stuff is all separated out. And then these 4 bolts go on the bottom of the heater and pull it down to the floor. Or if you were using the adapter plate, you'd bolt that onto the adapter plate on with those 4 bolts. And then the wiring harness and miscellaneous zip ties for zipping, tying stuff up. So that's where I'm at right now. I've got I don't need that adapter plate, I just threw it in there. So I'm ready to start. I need to pull the 12-volt power over to this. I need to decide where I'm going to bring the power up through into here, and I can start dropping my wires back down the other way for the fuel pump. So I'm making great progress here. So I'm feeding the power supply for the fuel pump down through this hole, and the way that this thing works, I'm pretty sure that comes out up at the top of it, so you can tell that more when you're doing it. But then the other plugs are all self-explanatory, because they only plug into what they're supposed to plug into. So that one plugs in there. The black and the red one over here are the power supply, and this one here goes up to your controller. Okay, so here's another thing, especially after I installed the first one. Get this all prepped up before you go down there and put it in, so you don't have to do this in a confined space. So this guy is all ready to go down there. It should be mounted from, this end up to avoid cavitation bubbles. But yeah, it's ready to go in, and then I just got to loosen those hose clamps and slip that in. And also, it's hugely better to get yourself a little socket for these nuts instead of trying to use a screwdriver, because yeah, you basically can't get no torque on these hose clamps with a screwdriver. So the ones I have here are 6mm, and it's just so much handier to stick a socket on there to be able to snug them up. So that's ready to go down below. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep the bottom of the diesel heater with the fuel line going out before I go down there and before I bolt it down. That way I don't have to fight with it. Yeah, so it's pretty tight quarters around these the air inlet and the exhaust pipe. I'm going to put the fuel line on here so I don't have to lay on my back down below and do it down there. These are different size, so it's easy to tell when you're doing it, but the inlet has the fuel line by it so it stays cool. Let me get that on there far enough like that. So you want to think about how this is going to be if you ever have to do repair on it. So there's a channel over here that would be in my way, but if I put this clamp over there, I'll have easy access if I ever have to take this off and do repair work on it. Just want to get the hose over that bulb, so the bulb's up there now, and I'll tighten this below it. That'll be good. That ain't gonna go nowhere. Measure twice, cut once, right? So I got to get above that bulb and a little bit. Don't like to use a single edge razor like this, but I'm all out of sharp utility knife blades. Okay. So ideally this plastic pipe goes all the way into that and touches that metal so it can't get no gap in between. I can see the bulge in that where the metal thing is, so where the other end is, so put the Sharpie mark on there so I can tell when I'm there. I'm just gonna push this up out of my way. Think I'm there. All right. Good there. Oh, there's a flaw in my plan. That hole ain't big enough for me to push all this stuff through. Instead of taking that apart, I'm just going to cut that so that I can slip that all through there. Okay guys, there was this ain't a typical way to install it, but I just cut that hole out bigger because I don't want to have to try to hook this hose on. I don't want to deal with hooking the hose on underneath. It's really a booger. So there's the wire for my fuel pump. Put it, and I deburred all these holes up here where there's no way to put, or I should say no way that I know how to put a grommet on this one up here. But I'll make sure it doesn't have any pressure on it when I get to that point. So that's gonna go like that. Basically, this is all gotta go down through there. Boy, this stuff is kind of a pain. It's so coiled. You don't want to kink it. There we go. All right, my fuel pump supply, my fuel supply, and hopefully I can get both of these hose clamps down through here. All right, try this one more time with some patience here. And the second one I just need a little more room there. Goodness gracious. Might have been easier the other way. Okay, couldn't get it through there with my hose clamps on. I'd have to cut even more out, and I'm not going to fight with it. So I just took my hose clamps loose. I'll just let them down through. But I'm still hooked up on there, so it takes some of the fight out of it. But might have been just as easy to just put it through and then put the thing on. I'm thinking that's probably the truth of it. Okay. Now, that's the exhaust pipe. Get the hose clamp on it. See what I mean about working under here. Holy cow. This thing's too long. Get it close and get it up there where it needs to be. Man, I got a love-hate with this little ratchet. The sockets don't stay on it very well. They're always falling off. Okay, there's that. And then I'll put this on. No, I think I'll anchor it on the other side. Gonna anchor this right up there on that rib. Okay, guys, I'm gonna try to make this a little easier by pre-drilling this hole. See if I can get this in there first. Yeah, no problem. Now let's put this up here. Gotta be careful, you can strip that out pretty darn easy. Oh man, that's solid. All right. My exhaust is totally solid. I'm going to put the muffler in the other bracket on the outside. And now this is the fresh air intake. And haven't decided where I'm going to put it yet. Oops. There we go again with the direction of the hose clamps is important. Okay. There we go. So that thing could... What I'm going to do is go ahead and get it hose clamped on. I'm glad I've been doing my yoga for flexibility still. It's getting better. Pretty rough at first. I see it doesn't want to get past that clamp right there. Finicky little bugger. Okay, there we go. That's where you need to be, buddy. Might be able to just tuck this thing. There you go, buddy. Welcome to your new home, my friend. Haha. That's great. Okay. Well, that's progress, folks. I'm gonna go take a little kinking brake. Okay guys, I got finished installing this down here. It all comes together and it seems pretty simple when you're done. And we temporarily mounted the controller up there because the next project is to put a cabinet over top of this with ventilation underneath it for it to breathe. And I'll go show you underneath, because what I just did is I test ran it on high for 15 or 20 minutes, and where the exhaust pipe goes out, it was the insulation was too close, so let me go show you that. If you look up here, see that? The foil was wrinkled. And
yeah,
then,
move your fingers. There you guys can see.
So there's a little bit, not enough clearance right there, so I cut around it.
Yeah, I wondered, because I could feel that getting warm. Okay guys, there you can see where it got melted. Just like right in there. So there, we just cut a big hole from the insulation around that. And it should work now.
I think that'll solve the problem.
I think so too, babe.
The next time we run it, we'll just come down and check it again and make sure it's not doing it anymore. So I'll give you guys the overview here. That's the exhaust pipe going out, and I didn't have enough clearance on the top side. It didn't show no signs of getting too hot on the bottom. There's the fuel pump. Comes up and around over here and up to the heater. There's the black line up there is the air intake, which is tucked right up there. And that's the standpipe to pick the fuel up out of the tank. We've ran it. It works. Everything seems good except that little heat issue right there. So we'll run it again tonight when it gets cold, and we'll double check and keep an eye on that. And other than that, I think we got it. Okay guys, I guess call me a slow learner. And like I always say, I'm just doing my thing, so I'm not a pro at this. But I did it again. This exhaust pipe is too close to this. So I was trying to turn it and get it out as quick as possible, but also needs a downward angle so the moisture can run out. Anyhow, it didn't melt this, but it was warmer than I'm comfortable with, so I'm going to relocate it over here, and I'm gonna pick the hole up. I don't need that much drop. So, but I want to stay, I got to stay away from this, so I think if I come over here and elevate up, then I'll be good. Okay guys, I'm back under here again. So I just wanted to share with you how I relocated the exhaust pipe on this thing. So it was over here and it was down lower, and it was making this get warm. I think it would have been okay, but it made me uncomfortable, so I scooted over and moved up and got more clearance here and just cleared all this foam out of the way. We've ran it several days since we did this, and it's ran on high, and we're good to go now. So hope this was helpful. Like I always say, I'm not a professional at this. I'm just sharing with you what I did, and maybe it'll help you understand it or keep you from doing something the hardest way, because I usually do it the hard way so that you don't have to. Anyhow, hope your bus is nice and warm and you have lots of friends to be snuggly with and an awesome life. Thanks for watching.